Now, when it comes to the holiday times, collard greens is absolutely one of my favorite side orders to have. Now, I'm not gonna tell y'all no story. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When it comes to cleaning collard greens, especially depending on how much collard greens you have to clean, now that's gonna be some work. First thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and get my collard greens. Now, you can wash your collard greens first and then cut them, or you can cut them and then wash them. It doesn't make a difference. There's no particular order you have to go in. It's all in preference. To me, cutting them first and then washing them is easier, so that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to take my leaves, and you can stack them on top of each other, as many as you possibly can. Go down each side and remove that stem. Now, you can use the stem. In my own personal opinion, the stem gives it a very bitter taste that I do not like, so I'm always going to go ahead and remove mine. Once I get the stem removed, make sure we get all of that stem out of there. Next, you're going to go ahead and roll your collard greens up. You want to roll them all the way into a long roll, just like that. Once your collard greens are rolled all the way up, you're going to go ahead and start slicing them, just like this here. Once you got all your collard greens sliced just like this, you're going to go ahead, put them in a big bucket or whatever you're going to use to clean them, depending on how much collard greens you have to clean. Now, I did about 4 bags of collard greens, which turned into 4 silver pans of collard greens, so I had to go ahead and use the sink. Now, I don't want to hear nothing about my comment section about using the sink to clean my collard greens, because y'all be in them restaurants eating that food and y'all know what's going on behind them doors at them restaurants. So don't say nothing about me using my sink to clean these collard greens. Now, what we're going to do is get us some cool water. I'm going to put my collard greens in there, and I'm going to use some baking soda. That is what I'm going to use to clean my greens, because remember, these come out of the ground. So we want to get any icky bits and pieces off of it that we do not want to go inside our pot. Now, with the cool water and the baking soda, you just want to make sure that you're rubbing things around, getting in between, and making sure that we're getting all of the icky bits that we don't want on there off. So first thing I did was put a pan of greens in there. I put some baking soda. I let the cool water run. After that, I put another pan, added some more baking soda, and I repeated it 4 times because I have 4 different pans. I want to make sure that I get my collard greens clean as possible. Once my water starts to run clear, I know my collard greens are clean, and we can go ahead and take them out of the sink, because now we are going to start cooking them. But before I started cleaning my greens, I did go ahead and start boiling my meat. For my meat, I'm going to use some smoked turkey. You can use turkey, you can use ham hocks, you can use oxtails, whatever type of meat you prefer, you can go ahead and use it. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and use smoked turkey. Now, if you don't want any meat in your collard greens, you do not have to add any meat. You can go ahead and skip that part. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and add my smoked turkey. Now, my smoked turkey has been boiling for about an hour and a half. Now, it's already cooked because it's smoked, but I just want to make sure I'm getting it fork tender. And just when it's about fork tender, I'm going to go ahead and start adding my greens. But I'm still going to keep my smoked turkey in there, because this is making a really good stock, and it's going to add really good flavor. Once all of the meat has fallen off of the bone, then I will go ahead and remove the bone. Now, I'm going to just add my collard green in bunches and let that cook down. Once you add your collard greens, it will cook down. It's going to look something like this. Now I'm going to add my seasoning. Now, I wasn't worried about adding my seasoning first, because I'm going to let this sit in the fridge overnight. If you've cooked collard greens before, you know that seasoning has to soak in for you to really taste that flavor. After I add all my seasoning in there, which is going to be some smoked paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, I'm going to use some all-purpose seasoning in there. I am going to go ahead and use some garlic and herb, roasted garlic and herb seasoning in there as well. And then I'm going to give it a good mix. If you like it a little spicy, go ahead and add you a few red chili flakes in there as well. Once I mix this all up, I'm going to let it cook until it's just about tender, but not all the way through, because I'm going to reheat mine the next day. Now, if you are eating yours today, you can go ahead and cook it until it's completely tender, but because I'm heating mine up the next day, I'm starting the process today just so the seasoning can sit and it can absorb those flavors overnight. I'm not going to cook it all the way until it's done. Once it's about 80% cooked, I am going to go ahead and add in my bell peppers, my onions, my garlic, and let that start to mix in there and start releasing those flavors. Once my garlic and my bell peppers and my onions are completely cooked down, I'm going to go ahead and remove these. And I like to add this last because I like the color that it brings to the collard greens. It gives it such a nice pop of color, so I want to make sure that I add these in there last. After I get everything mixed in together, let the garlic cook down and release its flavor, I'm going to go ahead, remove it, put it in the pan, let it cool off, and then we're going to store it in the fridge for tomorrow. Now that my bone is almost done, almost all the turkey is removed, I'm still going to keep the bone in there because we do have a little bit more turkey meat left on there. I'm going to cook that down tomorrow, and then I'm going to remove the bone, and this is how I prepare my collard greens. Now tomorrow we're going to reheat this, we're going to adjust seasoning if we need, and then we are going to be able to serve dinner, and I hope I see you guys in my next video. Bye y'all.